Guys, today's video is brought to you by the one and only Little Moose, and she hopes that you enjoy this video. And as you can see, what I've constructed not only will hold the Astro-Physics keypad, but it'll hold a full-size Little Moose. How we doing today, Moose? Alright guys, so today we're going to take a look at something I did to help alleviate the issue of seeing the Astro-Physics keypad in the daytime. And obviously these are meant to be used predominantly at night, so they've got a red filter on the keypad that you see hanging from the mount, and that is so that at night you keep your night vision. But they're very hard to see during the day. And in the past, I've used cardboard boxes. Then I went to a tote container like you see here, only a little bit bigger. And then I thought I wanted to do something to where it's attached to the tripod, to the mount, or to the tripod. And so I came up with this idea. I'm going to show you what we have. Now this could work with any, this happens to be the Astro-Physics Eagle, 6-inch Eagle, but I'm sure you can take the same principles and go to any mount and do about the same thing. So let's take a look at what I've done. So here I've powered up the mount, and we're looking at the keypad, and you can't even read anything. I'd have to put my hands over it and try to get all the glare out of it off the screen. Now this may not show up too well on camera, but I can easily see now. So it's location 1, latitude, longitude. And so I'm going to hit enter on the keypad. It's going to show date and time zone. Hit enter again. And now we can see very easily where it shows objects, setup, tools. So now I can just go to 1. You see it changes, and again it may not show up too well. Now number 4 is solar, so I hit number 4 on the keypad, and then we'll see where it says sun. So let's set it to the sun. I'll push 1. It gives me a warning looking at or near the sun. So then I'm going to hit go to and go to a second time, and now my mount is going to go to the sun. We've got a 130 GTX on my Mach 2. I've got another Mach 2 on order. Hopefully get it next month, August of 2024 or thereabouts. Alright, so now we're at the sun. I'm going to hit the plus and minus key. I'm going to go to number 1, slew home and recalibrate. And it's going to do its thing. So now that I've got it inside this box, this tote, let me pull it out into the sun, or into the daylight, and you see how that disappears. Literally unreadable. And then you see as I put it in here where it's easily seen. And again, with the camera, I've got to make sure that I've got the glare off of it. But in use, you just move the screen up and down to get any daylight from behind you that may be reflecting. Now you will notice that this is on the north leg. Being in the northern hemisphere, the sun will go to the southern horizon, to the south on the meridian. So that's why we want to have it on the north leg. That will ensure that the keypad will not be in any sunlight when inside that box. Now we're going to take a closer look at what I've done, but the way this is set up, I've got a lot of latitude in the positioning of this. This is now towards the east side of the mount. This is now to the north, and then we can go all the way over here to the west. And what that ensures is that in the summer, when the sun is rising way over here, over in this, towards the eastern part of the sky, I can make sure that if I turn it opposite the sun, I'm ensuring that there's going to be the maximum amount of darkness inside that box. So I'm real happy with the way this thing turned out. So the question became, how was I going to mount this to the tripod? Where was I going to place it? Obviously I wanted it on the north leg, as stated earlier, for the northern hemisphere, but I had to throw around a few ideas, and so I came up with one which I thought was pretty simple and took care of what I was looking for. So the first thing I had to do was determine what size storage container I wanted to use. So what I'm using is the 12-gallon size storage tote. I get these at Lowe's. You see the model number, the specifications as to the size. Once I knew the size of the container, then it was a matter of determining what stock I was going to use and how I was going to anchor the container to the tripod and everything, because I wanted this to, obviously it's got to come off. So I keep a lot of stock, pieces of stuff. I never throw it out because you never know when you need it. I had this is 3/8 inch thick by 1.5 inch wide aluminum stock, and I had a piece already cut this size, and so I pulled it out of my scrap pile, and this worked great. So this is going to be the piece that I use to anchor the box to this piece, and then this aluminum piece is anchored to the box. And here we see we're inside the box. What I've elected to do is use 1.5 inch diameter fender washers, stainless steel, and these 1/4-20 button head stainless steel Allen head bolts, 2 of those. Then obviously determined where I was going to place the holes, and then you'll see here I used acorn nuts as the nuts to anchor this down, and that way it was all smooth, wouldn't catch on anything. And then over here on the other end of this 3/8 thick by 1.5 inch wide flat stock aluminum, I just drilled a 1/4 inch hole, which accepts that arrangement that I have up here into this aluminum piece, which is threaded 1/4-20. So let's take a look at what we have there. It's a simple matter of loosening this up. Just like that. And so what we have here is a button head. These are all stainless steel. Button head, socket head cap screw, 1/4-20. And then I took a wing nut, 1/4-20 wing nut, and I didn't want to have to use tools. So what I did is I just took this, put my Allen wrench in here, took this, and just jammed this tight on the head of that bolt there, and basically jammed it up against there, so now it can't come loose. What you're going to normally tighten is not going to come loose. I mean, I cranked down on it, and now that is my attachment. That's going to be what I'll use then to attach that. And then this block is 1/4-20 tapped, and it goes in there like that. And then in storage, I will leave this on here. I'll put it all the way down, and I'll leave this on here so I will not lose that. Now, as stated earlier, I have a lot of different stock, be it steel, aluminum, brass. And I had a block, this aluminum block, that was a little bit bigger than what you see here. And it was, I don't even know where I got it. It already had a divot in here, a drill down in maybe 1/4 inch here. That's why it doesn't look right here. Then on the back side, just down here where this angle is, there was another one. So I figured to do this, I would let the bottom one be the cutoff side so you wouldn't really see anything, and then this up here. And so as I said, this was all rough, and it didn't turn out too bad. I don't have a mill to do it right, so I just used a chop saw, or a well, not a chop saw, but a miter box with an aluminum blade on it. And what I did is I wanted to make this S4S, so I took this side first and cut it, the side that was closest to 90 degrees to the one side. Then I held this up, then I cut this side. No, I cut the long side first, the long side, trimmed down it. Then I took that, and then I did this next, and then I did this side. So there only had to be 3 sides that I had to do, because this side it was going to get an angle. And this is what I used to cut that aluminum stock up, very simply. It's the Cobalt 24 volt max compound sliding miter box. Did a great job. Of course, I had to make sure that it had an aluminum cutting blade. You don't want to, it was a carbide tip specially made for aluminum cutting. Did a great job. Then it was just a matter of determining that angle, laying out where I wanted it. So I drilled a hole in the back side of this tripod and drilled and tapped this, and that's where you see this hole right here. I put it through that hole that you see right on the other side of my thumb. That's a through hole. That's the angled hole here from the back side, and I drilled it all the way through because I wanted it for chip evacuation when I was tapping it. And so you want to use, for a 1/4 you want to use a number 7 drill bit as your pilot, and then use your 1/4 tap to tap it. And I measured carefully because I wanted to make sure I could still get into this knob to tighten the leg, and that it wouldn't interfere, which it worked out perfect. And then I drilled this hole here, tapped it for the anchor bolt to go in there to hold your container. And so here you are. Like I said, you can see these saw cuts. I didn't have really the proper means of doing this, and I used a little Scotch-Brite to just kind of smooth it up a bit, but I think it works fine. You see the angle there? Like I said, this was just a junk piece of aluminum stock. It's the only piece that I had. Otherwise I'd have to go out and try to find a bar or a piece, and so I'm real happy with the way this is. And now this will stay on the tripod, and then when I want to set this up in the daytime, use it in the daytime, then I'll just take my container, put that on there, and I'm good to go. And here's the back side of that tripod where I've got that aluminum block anchored. So I'm pretty happy with this, and this may be a solution for you. And again, I can't see why you couldn't accommodate something like this to any tripod. I'm not sure what the Meade and Celestron keypads are, if they're bright in the daytime, but again, this can be adapted, I would assume, to almost any tripod. Another thing is I have a very small laptop that will easily fit in here. So that's another thing, you could use this if you had a laptop. It could set in here.